Hello and welcome to Colonization Note Card Review. Now I want you to listen very carefully to explain how we're going to do this. What you need right now is a bunch of note cards. It would be great if you had index cards, but if you just have paper and you draw rectangles on them, that would be okay too. You got to have something to write with, and then you need a one blank sheet of paper, not with lines in it, just a regular sheet of paper. That's all you need, all right? Then pay attention to everything I do, and it'll all make sense. You are going to turn all of this in. When we're done, you're going to turn everything in, so hold on to everything. We're going to make note cards, maybe 4 at a time. Then we're going to stop. You're going to study the note cards, and then I'm going to give you a quick quiz. The quiz is going to go on a blank sheet of paper. It'll make sense when we get going. Let's get going. First card. Take out a blank index card, all right? Now, on one side of the card, I want you to write economy of the southern colonies. Economy, vocab word, money. How do they get their money? How do they distribute their money, their systems of production? These are the southern colonies, right? Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, okay? So if you have that written out now, I want you to flip to the other side, and on the other side, I'm going to put in right in here the information you need to write. I want you to write it word for word. First of all, in the eastern coastal lowlands, that is the eastern part of the South that's closest to the ocean, plantations grew cash crops, and they were tobacco, rice, and indigo. And Virginia was tobacco. All the way down south in South Carolina was the rice, and the indigo was down there as well. Think of it as the colonial triangle, TRI, tobacco, rice, and indigo. Now, that's what the rich dudes in the southern colonies were doing. In Virginia, you got two things happening. In the Appalachian foothills, that's in the mountains, that's out west, poor English immigrants, not wealthy cash crop people, poor people from England, they used to be indentured servants. A lot of them used to be indentured servants. They're doing small-scale subsistence farming. That's just enough farming to get by. They're doing hunting and trading. All right? Now, it won't surprise me if my face is getting in the way of some of these words. So just listen to me. Small-scale subsistence farming, hunting and trading. That's happening in western Virginia. That's happening in the Appalachian Mountains. In eastern Virginia, remember the coastal lowlands, the rich dudes, that's where the English nobility, those friends of the king, a name for the friends of the king, were Cavaliers. They received large land grants from the king of the best land in eastern Virginia, and that's where they grew their cash crop. And as you know, the cash crop of the southern colonies was tobacco. So in eastern Virginia, the English nobility, called Cavaliers, received large land grants from the king. That's totally different than in the Appalachian foothills, where these former indentured servants did small-scale subsistence farming, hunting, and trading. All right, I'm going to move to the next slide now. So if you're still working on this one, I want you to pause me. Pause me. But if you're good, we're good. All right, new card, take out a new card. I want you to title this card Economy of the Middle Colonies. We went south, we're moving north. We're in the middle right now. How did those folks in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all right, how did they all make their money, all right? And Delaware as well. Here we go. Shipbuilding, small-scale farming, and trading. Those are the big ones. Everybody's farming. There's not huge farms. There are more small farms. And they're trading in the big cities, but a big one here is shipbuilding. They're close to the water, and they're building ships. There's another colonial group that's making ships too, okay? New York and Philadelphia grew as seaports and commercial centers. The way you think about this, those are your big cities. All right, we talk about trading right here. Where are they doing the trading? They're doing the trading in the big cities. And where are the big cities? It's in New York, and it's in Philadelphia. All right? Hey, that was an easy card. That was an easy card. That's all we need to know about the economy of the middle colonies. Pause me if you're still writing. If not, let's go to the next one. As I'm sure you can imagine, we're going north, so the next one is economy of the New England colonies, all the way at the very top. Now check this out. Fishing, shipbuilding, lumbering, and small-scale subsistence farming. You know what the key there is? Shipbuilding. Because that's what the middle colonies are doing too. They're doing the same thing. That's a shared economic activity. And now think about it. You go fishing, that means you need a ship. If you need a ship, it's got to be made out of wood. Wood, get it from chopping down trees. Great forests in the New England colonies. That's lumbering, okay? And they're farming. They don't have great soil for farming, but they're definitely farming. Everybody's farming. It's an agrarian society. Puritans, folks who lived in Massachusetts, were big believers in hard work and thrift. You work hard, you save your money. Don't go spending. Just save, and work hard, and it'll go well for you, all right? Those are your things for the economy of the New England colonies. Once again, pause me if you ain't good. Pause me if you ain't good. If you're good, though, we're going to the next one. Ready for the next one? Differences in colonial economies. So what I'm saying is, if you made so much money growing cash crops, how come it only happened in the South? Why did it not happen in the middle colonies, in the New England colonies? Why didn't they build ships in the South? Well, the key is geography. Differences in geography created differences in economic activities among the colonies. Geography is the key to the economy. If it was warm in the New England colonies, they'd grow the cash crops that require warm weather. If they had the deep forest, the hardwood trees in North Carolina, then they'd be building ships there. But things are different because the geography is different, which means the colonial economies is different. That's all you got to put for that one. All right? Hey, one more card, and then we're going to take a quiz. Jamestown. Jamestown's a big one. You've been learning about Jamestown for years now. Put Jamestown down, all right? Got to know the year. Hey, talk to me. What year was Jamestown? Come on, talk to me. 1607. That's exactly right. It was settled in 1607 by the Virginia Company of London. A mistake that kids make is they think that the King of England personally established Jamestown. It was established by a company, all right? It was established as a business venture. Venture's a vocab word. A risk that you take in hopes of earning a profit. It was a joint stock company. People put their money together thinking they would find great wealth in Virginia. They thought they would find gold in Virginia. Now, as you know, there was no gold in Virginia. Oh, there's a little bit, but, nothing that they would ever find. And they turned to tobacco, all right? But the key here is, next one down, is the first permanent British settlement in North America. All right, there was attempts before by the British to establish colonies. They failed. Jamestown never goes away. You can still visit Jamestown today. Ever since 1607, there's been a Jamestown. It's the first permanent British settlement in North America. And the southern colonies as a whole were established for economic reasons. The reason that the southern colonies were established is people were looking to make dollar bills. Y'all. All right. I think we're good. Pause me if we're not good. If we're good, it's quiz time. Some people just make note cards, but they never study them. That's not smart. We're going to study. I think we should study for 2 minutes. All right? Take your phone out. Set your alarm. Set your alarm for 2 minutes, right? What should we listen to in 2 minutes? Should we listen to chimes? Or should we listen to Constellation? I agree with you. I think we should listen to Constellation. Set your alarm, 2 minutes to Constellation, and just flip the cards. Guess everything on the other side of the card. Look at one side, guess. All right? Hey, pause me. Got to pause me for 2 minutes. Pause me. While you're studying, I'll be reading The Complete History of American Presidents. Whoa. Wow. Is it time? Time already? Incredible. Okay. Put your cards to the side. Don't look at your cards. Put them away to the side. Hey, take out that blank piece of paper. Remember I told you a blank piece of paper? Yeah, take it out, and I want you to number it 1, number it 2, number it 3, and number it 4. I'm going to ask you 4 questions. You don't have to write the question I asked, just write the answer down, all right? See how much you remember. Here's the first question. List all 3 cash crops grown in the southern colonies. There were 3 cash crops grown in the southern colonies. Can you list all 3? There's a little trick to remember how to do this. See if you can remember this. Do push-ups. This is the only way I can do push-ups. Okay, number 2. Which 2 colonial groups shared the same economic activity? I'll give you a hint. The economic activity was shipbuilding. 2 of the colonial groups made ships. Which were those 2 groups? Which were the groups? Which were the groups that made ships? That's what I want to know. All right, we good? Number 3. What was the key factor which resulted in differing economic activities among the colonies? What I'm telling you is it's like they didn't all grow cash crops. They didn't all build ships. It seemed to change from group to group to group. There must have been a reason for that, right? What was the reason for this change? This is an incredible workout I'm doing. I'm thinking about making a workout video, and it's all about building YouTube review videos for U.S. history while doing an arm workout. Number 4, what year was Jamestown founded? Ah! What a jerk, Spicer. Asking me years. I hate remembering years. I hear you. This is like the 1 year you got to remember. All right. You good? All right, number 1, list all 3 cash crops grown in the southern colonies. Tobacco, rice, indigo, the colonial triangle. Number 2, which 2 colonial groups shared the same economic activity? That would be shipbuilding. And I'm looking for the middle colonies and the New England colonies. For them, it was a shared economic activity. Number 3, what was the key factor which resulted in differing economic activities among the colonies? Geography. Geography is the key to the economy. And 4, what year was Jamestown founded? 1607. Gotta know it, 1607. Hey, that was good, right? Think about this. These questions, they're easier than any questions you're going to get on the test because, I'm sorry, they're harder because they're not multiple choice, which means the questions you'll get are going to be easier. Hey, let's make some more cards. Take out a note card, blank 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 note card. Number 1, put labor force in the southern colonies. Growing those cash crops must have been a lot of work, right? Who did they get to do the work? Oh, slaves, sort of. That wasn't the first group that did stuff. Number 1, the growth of an agricultural economy in the southern colonies required access for cheap labor. If you want to grow tobacco or rice or indigo, you need a lot of work, okay? And if you want to make a lot of money, you know these folks didn't want to spend a lot of money on their labor. So the first thing they did, number 1, indentured servants agreed to work for a period of time to pay off passage to the New World. Passage, a vocab word, moving from one place to another. They couldn't afford the ship ride over, so that they had to work off for 7 years. But once they worked for 7 years, they were free, and they could have their own land. Well, eventually the southern colonies move away from indentured servitude and move towards African race-based slavery. Number two, the British colonies turned to African slavery to fulfill the labor needs. So it's first indentured servants. At the very beginning of the colonial period, that's how they did it. Then we see a shift, and then it moves entirely to African-based enslaved labor, growing the tobacco, growing the rice, growing the indigo. Okay? And we'll talk more about that in a second. But that's that card. Pause me if you're not good. If you're good, let's go to the next one. Southern Colony Society. So we talked about their economies. Now we're going to talk about their societies. Okay, what was their social structure like? Well, first of all, it was based off family standing and land ownership. If you were born to a rich family, in Virginia they were called the FFVs, the First Families of Virginia, then you were going to be wealthy. If you were born to a poor family, you were likely never going to be wealthy, because the key is land ownership. You've got to own a ton of land. If you don't own land, you're not going to grow the crops to get you the wealth. and then your family is never going to progress. All right. Now, they had the closest ties to the Church of England and strong social ties to Great Britain. This was not a diverse colonial group. A ton of folks from the southern colonies were British. And considering the Church of England, the Anglican Church, the Episcopal Church, all the same thing, considering that's the Church of England, it makes sense. And they were connected to Great Britain. They wanted to be viewed as British. Being British was very important to folks in the southern colonies. They had the strongest ties, social and cultural ties. All right, we're done with this one. Pause me if you're not good. If you're good, let's go. Go to the Middle Colony Society. Hey, the southern colonies were not diverse. The middle colonies were very diverse. It was a home to a diverse religious groups who believed in religious tolerance. You have so many different groups, there wasn't a lot of fighting amongst them. In Pennsylvania, you got the Quakers, the peace-loving, pacifist Quakers. In New Jersey, you had Presbyterians. Presbyterians formed in New Jersey. And in New York, you had French Protestants called Huguenots and Jews. Some of the earliest synagogues in the in the British colonies are formed in the colony of New York. Look at those different groups. The South was just like Church of England folks, right? You know, they had a flexible social structure with a strong middle class. What we mean by that is you could be born poor, then get to the middle class, then get to the upper class. You could be born to the middle class and then get to the upper class. You see, that's movement, that's flexibility. But in the South, we said that, you know, it was family standing and land ownership, so they did not have a flexible social structure. They had a rigid social structure. Does that make sense? All right. If you're good, you're good. I'm moving to the next one. You ready? We're going all the way up north. New England Society. New England Society. Now, if they're formed by the Puritans, right, if the folks in New England got there primarily for religious reasons, also for economic a little bit, then it's going to be about religion. Whoa! It's a lot of stuff. Number one, it was based off religious standing. Your standing within the Puritan church depended greatly on where you were in their society. You know, Puritans sailed to the New World in order to worship freely. That makes sense. If they were formed for religious reasons, then it only makes sense that they would view this as being very important. They grew intolerant of anyone who thought differently, anyone who challenged the connection between religion and government. Okay? And a person like that would be Rhode Island's Roger Williams. Rhode Island was founded by dissenters fleeing persecution by Puritans in Massachusetts. Roger Williams and a lady named Anne Hutchinson, they both thought differently of the Puritan church in Massachusetts. As a result, Roger Williams was booted out of Massachusetts and settled in Rhode Island. It was founded by dissenters fleeing persecution by Puritans in Manassas. So you can see, in Massachusetts, not Manassas. So you can see that religion's important, and that's ultimately how their society is structured in the New England colonies. That's a lot of work, or words to write. Hit a pause if you're still writing. If you're not, I'm going to go to the next one. Hey, it's quiz time. You know how to do quiz time. You guys want to do 2 minutes? I like 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes is good for me. Should we listen to Crystals? Or should we listen to Apex? I think we'll do Apex. Apex is kind of trippy, right? Hey, we'll do Apex, and you know, you do that. You study these for 2 minutes, and while you're doing that, I'll be reading about the presidency of Martin Van Buren. Mr. Van Buren, what a presidency. Take out that piece of paper. That blank piece of paper we did the quiz on, number it 1, number it 2, number it 3, number it 4. Let's do 4 questions. Let's do 4 questions. Number 1. Before the introduction of slavery, which labor force met the needs of the southern colonies' agricultural economy? Grow crops. Grow crops. Got to have stuff, man. Got to have people to work on those crops. Who did it? Who did that work? Write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. 2. Southern society was based off of which two factors? Like, I guess another way of saying this is to be elite in the South. Which two things did you have to have? A good blank and a lot of blank. All right. Cool. Number 3. Which religious group was located in Pennsylvania? We said that the middle colonies had a diverse range of religious groups. Which one was in Pennsylvania? Which one was in Pennsylvania? 4. Which colony was founded as a home for dissenters fleeing persecution from Massachusetts? All right. Just write down the name of the colony. You shooting the rock right now? You know what I'm saying? I'm passing you the ball. Are you catching it? You know, bob your head. Make the noise. Number 1. Before the introduction of slavery, which labor force met the needs of the southern colonies' agricultural economy? Indentured servants. All right. It goes indentured servants first, then slavery. 2. Southern society was based off of which two factors? Family standing and land ownership. The state of your family and how much land you owned determined how much wealth and status you had. 3. Which religious group is located in Pennsylvania? The Quakers. The Presbyterians in New Jersey. The Huguenots and Jews in New York. 4. Which colony was founded as a home for dissenters fleeing persecution from Massachusetts? Rhode Island. Dissenters were kicked out. I just thought of a premium way to remember this. When they got kicked out, they had to take a road to leave Rhode Island. Premium or not premium? Premium. Let's do some more cards, man. Take some cards. Let's go. I want you to write Mayflower Compact on this one. I want you to write Mayflower Compact. All right? Okay. You know, it was written aboard the Mayflower in 1620. This is when the Puritans were coming over to America, when they were leaving England because they were fleeing religious persecution, and they were coming over to the New World. They formed a system of government. They formed what they call the civil body politic. And everybody who signed it agreed to follow that government. Therefore, they made a promise, a vocab word, bolded, underlined vocab word is covenant. A very serious promise. They formed a covenant community aboard the Mayflower Compact. And you know, this is showing that government is forming. Government is forming in the New World. Different governments in England's government. And that could be a prob, Bob. All right, are we good? Are we good? Let's do another one. All right, we've talked about the economy, we've talked about the society, now we're going to talk about the politics. You know, like who represented them, how did their governments work, and we'll go south, middle, and then we'll go up to New England. So the first one is the southern colonies. Planters dominated the colonial legislature. No, not peanuts, not planters, peanuts. A planter would be an individual who would own a plantation. Folks like James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, James Monroe, George Washington, all right? Those guys represented Virginia in the colonial legislatures, and that's the same way in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Maryland, all right? And remember, we know this, right? The House of Burgesses, which is in Virginia, was the first elected assembly in the New World, still in use today, and today it's called the Virginia General Assembly. Still in use today, it's called the General Assembly. House of Burgesses in Virginia, first elected assembly in the New World, General Assembly now. But I guess the point is you have to be rich, you know, and have a good family. It's just like the society. Family standing, own a lot of land, then you get to represent people. But they do have a form of democracy. They do have representative government. Those planters represented people in the legislatures, but you know, you'd have to be super duper rich to get those positions, right? Let's go middle colonies politics. Let's talk about the politics of the middle colonies. Did they have emerging democracy? Did they have representative forms of government? And the answer is yes. The Middle Colonies incorporated a number of democratic principles that reflected the basic rights of Englishmen. Remember, Englishmen still do have representative political rights. In England, you have the House of Lords and the House of Commons. Well, in Pennsylvania, William Penn issued a form of government which offered representative rights, which offered people representatives to be elected. So it reflects democratic principles. So we have democratic principles emerging in the Middle Colonies. Let's go all the way up north to the New England colonies and their politics. Now, they had Athenian direct democracy practiced in town hall meetings. You know, in Sparta, man, it's like all they made was war. But in Athens, that Greek city-state, they made governments. They made philosophy. They made peace. Direct democracy means majority by the, or rule by the majority. So they take a vote, whoever wins, that's what they do. And they did it in big, usually in churches, and they were called town meetings, big town meetings. They did it in churches, okay? Very good. Very good. Hey, let's do a quiz. I'm feeling a quiz right now. 1 or 2 minutes. I like to. I definitely like to. Should we listen to By the Seaside? Or should we listen to Night Owl? You know what? I think By the Seaside, right, was the best one. You know what I'm saying? Hey, why don't you do that? And I'll be learning about the presidency of a good friend of mine named Lyndon Baines Johnson. I'd say there's nothing like listening to seaside music while diving into the great society of the late 1960s. Take out a piece of paper. Number at 1. Number at 2. Number at 3. Number at 4. You know how to do this. Let's go. Number 1. Which key vocab word describes the Mayflower Compact? Ah! We got to know some vocab words in here. Which key vocabulary word describes the Mayflower Compact? Number 2. What was the name of the first elected assembly in the New World? British. I have to put British in there because the Native Americans certainly had elected assemblies as well. But anyway, the first one, give you a hint, it's in Virginia. So it'd be the first legislature in Virginia. Okay. Number 3. The politics of the Middle Colonies represented the same basic rights as... Oh, that's hard. We're talking about the basic democratic principles that were shared by this other group. Okay? Write your answer down. Here you go, number 4. And which colonial group was Athenian-style direct democracy? Do not tell me the specific colony. Just give me the colonial group. Remember, there are 3 colonial groups. Give me the one that had direct democracy practice in town meetings and 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 town meetings. Alright? Hey, number 1, which key vocab word describes the Mayflower Compact? Covenant, 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 covenant. A serious promise. They made a promise to form a body politic, to form their own government, in a way. 2, what was the name of the first British elected assembly in the New World? They were the House of Burgesses. The House of Burgesses. Remember, and in the South, only planters dominated the colonial legislature. Number 3, politics in the Middle Colonies represented the same basic rights as Englishmen. Because remember, in England there was democratic principles, and so were there in the Middle Colonies. Number 4, in which colonial group was Athenian-style direct democracy? Athens stuff, and that was in the New England colonies. Puritans had that going on, especially up in Massachusetts. Town meetings with direct democracy. Hey, I think I could be wrong, but I think we have one more set of note cards and one more quiz, and then we're done. Almost there, baby. Almost there, baby. Here we go. put slavery in the colonies. Slavery in the colonies. We talked about it a little bit. We're going to talk about it more in depth right now. Slavery in the colonies. Slavery in the colonies. Here we go. Number 1. Remember, indentured servants were first, right? After the use of indentured servants, the colonies, especially the southern colonies, moved towards importing Africans to be used as enslaved labor. All right? It's permanent. If children are born, they are born into slavery. Slaves are expensive, but these planters got a lot of money in return on the backs of this enslaved labor. All right? Now, the journey to the New World was called the Middle Passage. It was part of the triangular trade. And the most brutal part of the triangular trade is when Africans were stolen from Africa and sent over on these crowded, diseased slave ships to America, where they were then sold into slavery. And that part of the passage was called the Middle Passage. All right? And slaves in Virginia, they worked on tobacco plantations. Now, you know this because you know that tobacco, rice, and indigo are the cash crops, which is where most of the slaves are working. But in Virginia, the cash crop that was grown was tobacco, so it would only make sense that in tobacco, the tobacco growers would be in Virginia. And then the last thing, the issue of slavery, you know, it's eventually going to lead to civil war, and you probably knew that, and we'll talk more about that in December. But the Civil War, slavery is a major root cause of the Civil War. So it's not like slavery just comes over here and then it goes away. It becomes a major issue which divides America. All right? Pause me if you ain't good. If you're good, let's go to the next one. Hey, how about Native American interactions? What's happening with those Native Americans that are over here? Well, number 1, they're fighting. They're clashing with the British and the Spanish over land. Land, 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 land. Land ownership is the key here. It is all about land ownership and the fights between the Native Americans and the British and the Spanish. Which means the French had better relations with the Native Americans. Because you know there were less French settlers that came over. There were fewer settlers, and they were practicing the fur trade, and they used Native Americans as business partners, you could say. Now, I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to remember this? Don't you worry, I just thought of a premium way for us always to remember this. French, few, friendly, fur, premium or not premium? Premium. Cool. I believe this is the last note card we're doing. The Great Awakening, the Great Awakening, the Great Awakening. It was a religious movement that swept Europe and the colonies in the mid-1700s. In the mid-1700s, a religious movement swept Europe, and it swept the colonies. All right? Now, it led to the rapid growth of evangelical religions such as Methodists and Baptists. Folks looking to spread their Bible-based religion as much as possible, to evangelize. This is a new style of preaching. Increased religiosity, meaning there's more folks practicing religion now. All right? And whenever there's new ideas, a lot of the times those are challenges to the old ideas. So think about this. If you have new religious ideas, they served as a challenge to the religious and governmental authority, especially the Church of England, which is both religion and government. Now, this idea that you could challenge what is already established lays the social foundation for the American Revolution. The American Revolution is all about challenge. Challenging the king, challenging Parliament, challenging England. Well, in the mid-1700s, there was religious challenges that are already happening, and they were done through the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening, the Great Awakening, the Great Awakening. All right? Pause me if you ain't good. But if you are good, I'm going to the next slide in 3, 2, 1. This is our last quiz. Study for 2 minutes. Set your alarm for 2 minutes. I'm trying to think what we should listen to. You guys want to listen to Playtime or Radiate? Or Playtime? You know, I kind of like to Radiate because I like to spin in my chair. You know, it's fun to spin in my chair. So we'll do Radiate. 2 minutes. 2-minute study. Oh, look. It's Herbert Hoover. Hey, Hoover. Thanks for the Hoover Dale. Take out a piece of paper. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Oh, just 3. Oh, cool. Just 3. Yay! Number 1, what was the name of the passage to the New World from Africa? What was the name of the passage where the enslaved Africans arrived to America? It had a name. What was it? 2 words. Write it down. Number 2, why did the French have better relations with the Native Americans than the British or the Spanish? I'm looking for one specific reason. There's 2 good reasons. I want the one best reason. 3, the Great Awakening laid the social foundation for what? The Great Awakening laid the social foundation for what major event, which we'll learn about next unit, next chapter. All right? All right, let's answer these things. Number 1, what was the name of the passage from Africa to the New World? It was called the Middle Passage, the Middle Passage, the Middle Passage. 2, why did the French have better relations with Native Americans than the British or the Spanish? They had better relations because fewer. There were fewer settlers. There were less French settlers coming over, which means they didn't want as much land. The British and the Spanish were fighting over land ownership. The French didn't have that problem as much. Also the fur trade, but the best reason is fewer settlers. 3, the Great Awakening laid the social foundation for what? It laid the social foundation for the American Revolution because it was a challenge to the religious and governmental authority. So the answer number 3 is American Revolution. My friends, save everything. Put your name on your stuff. Clip your note cards together. Remember that piece of paper we did all these quizzes on. Have your name on that and be ready to send that up to the front when I see you in class on test day.